Hey guys, it's Katie and welcome back to my YouTube today. Today's video is a life update video sharing with you guys what has been going on in our world in the last couple of So obviously everyone's life is very much uprooted at the moment, and I have filmed this video a couple of different times over the last month, and it just kind of feels like things have just kept snowballing and getting crazier and crazier, and it's really been on my heart to share this with you guys and be upfront instead of just going back into making videos and being like, oh, what happened? Where did you go for the last month? So I just wanted to share it. So that's what today's video is all about. If you would like to skip it, that's totally fine. I have no problem with that. I do have another fun video that I just uploaded today too, so you can head over to my channel and check that out if you don't want to listen to all this craziness. My husband has been paralyzed and in a wheelchair for the last 14 years, and he has been very fortunate to not have any major complications due to that. We have been very fortunate, and we have counted our blessings all along the way. I know it's probably not the time for any of that in-depth story. That's a story for another day. If you're interested, let me know, and I wouldn't mind sharing it some other time, but not today. So last fall, he developed a couple of pressure sores, and that is a complication of being in your wheelchair. And why it took 14 years, we don't know, but it did. And between the two of them, we started doing a little bit of doctoring. And because we have never experienced this before, we thought what we were doing was just right. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And so by the time we actually got some decent care, it was a little bit further gone than what either of us really would have liked. So we finally were able to see a wound doctor in January, and they moved things right along, and they have taken very good care of Greg. But because things had progressed so far, and it just was a lot longer to heal himself. So he checked into the hospital the first part of February with what we had planned on being a couple weeks stay, and he ended up being there nearly 8 weeks. And it very well could have been worse. We know that, and we are very grateful. But it was a very long month of February because there was a lot of miscommunication, non-communication, thinking it was going to be one thing and then it wasn't, and it was just the way that it worked out. And so he was in the hospital that he could get into. Because of where we live in rural Montana, it's 3 hours from our home. So for the month of February, I spent either traveling down to Billings or back home trying to run the store. And the end of February was very busy for us. We had a couple of big basketball tournaments that we went to and sold shirts at, and that's kind of our moneymaker. That's what helps pay the bills for a while, thankfully. And it was just a lot of highway time. I'm going to insert some pictures so you guys can see. It is very beautiful. It's a very beautiful drive, but I tell you what, it gets really old having to stare at the highway for 3 hours and then turn around and come back. And so there was just a lot of that in February. And then we moved into March, and we kind of knew that we were going to have a couple of weeks of downtime before more large events were happening that we had to do with our business. And then the second week of March, I had planned to go for the weekend down to Billings to see Greg. and Mother Nature said, no, we are going to dump snow on you. And it was calling for 6 to 12 inches of snow in our area. And because the drive is so long, there's not very much between here and there. It is very desolate. There's a lot of space where there's no cell service. And so I just didn't feel comfortable being on the road in between here and there, having to have somebody come get me if that was the case, leaving the kids at home or taking them with me. Either way, it was just a lot to be gone during any time of spring storm in Montana. So I made the choice to stay home, and that's when everything kind of fell apart with the coronavirus. And it just, obviously everybody knows what happened, and for me, it was very overwhelming to know what to do. To continue working, I still had some jobs that had to get done. I really needed to get to see Gregg, and now the kids couldn't go see Gregg. I was very fortunate that I was even able to go in that last time that I went, and it was just very, very much a roller coaster. And so I really was just trying to survive. That was pretty much it. I was just trying to survive that after all the craziness that had already been going on, and now this just put a whole new level onto it. So I was able to go see Gregg for a couple of days before they said no visitors, and it ended up not being that, but it kind of also, when I left, they said no more visitors. So it kind of gave me a little bit more peace to be like, okay, well then I need to be at home with the kids. I need to not worry because I can't be here anyway. And long story short, they didn't close down visitors until the next week, but Gregg was only a couple of weeks away from coming home, and so I'm like, okay, we can do this. And I came home and I just self-isolated myself with my 3 kids and my 2 grandkids. They were there for the weekend, and we just kind of took a little breather and took it all in and processed everything that was going on in the world and in our life and everything. And so obviously we all would love to have a week at home to be able to get caught up and do different things. And I kind of feel like I need to see this for the blessing that it is. And so I am going to continue on with videos from now on. I have some free time. I'm going to be home helping Gregg recover a little bit longer as we go through this quarantine situation. And so I will have lots more of fun videos for you guys. But I really wanted to just pop on and let you know where I've been and what's been going on. For more behind the scenes on today's video, as well as bonus DIYs and just a little bit of fun, make sure you're following me over on Instagram. That's where the party's at. Thanks so much for watching.